Today on Uliza Links, we talk matters law. Who better else to help us apart from Edwin Vincento, an advocate of the High Court, a Manchester United fan, and of course, a man of God. He works with HIAS, an NGO that helps with refugee protection in Kenya. So subscribe, like, comment, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Twende tuone hiki. Okay, so my name is Vincent Edward Ochieng. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya of 2 years standing, and currently I'm working for an ungovernmental organization that delves into issues of refugee protection and management in Kenya. We are working with partners such as Department of Refugee Services and United Nations Human Rights Commission, United Nations Human Refugee Agency. That's the organization that we partner with, and other organizations alongside, such as RCK, that is Refugee Consortium of Kenya, Danish Refugee. So basically, I'm into the NGO world, but I also do a bit of side hustle here and there in terms of now practice in the law arena. Much of civil, a bit of criminal litigation once in a while when we get pro bono cases.
Nice. Since we are talking matters law and lawyers, what was the two come up from once? Kindly define for us, who is a lawyer?
Who is a lawyer? That's a very good question. I know many people tend to confuse between an advocate and a lawyer. It's good to understand. A lawyer is basically, we tend to agree that a lawyer is somebody who represents clients in legal matters. But it's good to understand that there's a big difference. Here in Kenya, for you to be a lawyer, probably you've done an undergraduate in law degree in accredited institutions such as University of Nairobi, Strathmore, we have MKU, we have Kenyatta University. So that's a 4-year program that you do, and then once you graduate with a degree, you become a lawyer. But you cannot represent somebody in court. You have to go ahead and do something we call a postgraduate diploma in law at the Kenya School of Law, a program that runs for one year and 6 months. 1 year is when you do the content part in terms of now doing the exams, in terms of doing the units, the various units. But now later on you have a program called the pupillage program where you undergo a training from law firms. There is where you are trained even how to go to court, how to draft pleadings, how to represent clients, yes, and such other things. Nice. And you specialize. From there is where now you can see which area you can specialize in depending on what you like and what you want.
Nice. It is an unwritten rule in Nairobi that you need to have a lawyer in your contact list. So why should a person who is living in Nairobi, Kenya, have a lawyer in my contact list?
It's good to have a lawyer in your contact list, not only when you're in problem, but at times we normally have government policies, we have legislations that are being drafted, and at times there's a lot of technicalities. A good example, when we have the finance bill, some people don't really understand even the procedure of a bill becoming a law. So it's good to have a lawyer in your contact list for purpose of information first, and then also whenever you're in conflict with the law, you need a lawyer. Whenever you've done something that is against the law, you'll always need a lawyer. Whenever you need an interpretation to understand clauses, to understand even your contracts at your workplaces, you need a lawyer. So a lawyer forms a very vital element of one's life.
Nice. You mentioned something that has really jazzed me up in terms of getting a lawyer. Maybe I'm in the conflict with the law, so I want to know, when should I get a lawyer and how do I choose the right lawyer?
Okay, so that's a very good question. It depends with which aspect of the law. We have different aspects of the law. You can be in conflict with the law against the state, what we call criminal law, and it can be maybe tort or you've committed an injury against another civil individual. So you need a civil lawyer. So it all depends on the specialization. So probably if you explain the scenario or the instance to a lawyer, maybe just a general lawyer or advocate, they would advise you that probably I'm not specializing in land matters, you need a criminal lawyer. So that is how now you are able to determine, depending on the facts of what has transpired, of what you require. If you require to buy land, you need a lawyer who has specialized in land matters, what we call as conveyancing.
Nice. So when getting a lawyer, when you learn insurance are very, very expensive. I want to understand how do legal fees work, and what if I cannot afford a lawyer? So how do I go about it and I need a lawyer?
So for advocates, we have something called the Advocates Remuneration Order. It's like a law that guides how we charge our clients. We are not supposed to undercut. That is pay. There's a stipulated amount that we normally pay for the services that we offer. You remember, even a lawyer can charge you for just a letter, even for doing a phone call, even for an email, because they are charging you for their time that they are using to maybe effect your matter or to work on the issue that you have. So depending on the number of years of experience a lawyer has, depending on the law firm, the rates will also differ depending on the type of law. If you are to go to Otiende Mall or you go to one Orengo, a senior counsel, probably they'll charge you more. But if you meet a lawyer like me here, of 2 years, we might talk, but I'm also not supposed to undercut, because there's a law that provides for that, the Advocacy Remuneration Order, and I can be charged for that. If I'm, for example, I'm supposed to charge, an affidavit is supposed to be charged maybe at 1,000, I decide to charge it at 500, that one is undercutting, it's against the profession, and you might be in trouble. Yeah, and there's a question that you also asked, that if you can't afford a lawyer, yes?
Yes.
So if you can't
afford a lawyer, so how do I go about it?
So if you can't afford a lawyer, I know legal fee is quite expensive. Legal services are very expensive, and if you can't afford a lawyer, we have pro bono lawyers provided by different organizations. I could give an example. We have Kituo cha Sheria that provides pro bono lawyers. We have which other agency? We have the National Legal Aid Service. It's established by an act. It's more of a government entity, government more of like a parastatal or something, that also provide legal aid services to clients who are not able to really meet their financial end of paying or of catering for a lawyer, legal services. So those are some of the good examples. Also, the Law Society of Kenya, during their Legal Awareness Week, they normally also have legal aid pro bono services that are offered. Also us as lawyers, we are also mandated to offer a bit of pro bono services. So not all the time we charge your client. At times we might set up that for this year I'll get maybe 3 cases that I'll do pro bono. Yes.
There is this thing, kuna hiki tu, watu wakiarestiwa wanasema, let me call my lawyer first.
Yes.
Let me nini bana, ngoja sana. So when someone gets arrested,
yes,
what is the procedure before I call where as a lawyer?
So when somebody gets arrested, for this one, the reason why people want to call their lawyer is from the Constitution. If you look at Article 49 of the Constitution, rights of an arrested person, to remain silent, to contact their lawyer, is provided by the law, to contact their lawyer for legal representation. In most instances, you don't want to criminalize yourself. You don't want to, at the point where you're arrested, probably the police might coerce you into giving out evidence that might lead to self-incrimination, where you find yourself saying things that might be used against you. So people tend to call their lawyers because, at least for a lawyer, they understand the laws of evidence. They understand that what you say might be taken up, might be taken down and reused during the court proceeding. So it is the reason why. And I know it's more of an American phrase, let me call my lawyer. I won't speak until I talk to my lawyer, which is a really good thing to do at times when you're in trouble.
So it's something normal. We have even seen in movies when someone is getting arrested.
Okay.
And you have the right to remain silent. So
yeah.
What does that mean? And why should I remain silent once I'm arrested?
The right to remain silent is, as I explained, is because there are certain things that you might utter, maybe out of coercion, probably you've been intimidated by the police, and that will form part of what, you see, when they're arresting you, investigation in a way has already started. So that will form part of the facts that they will gather to build a case against you. So it is very advisable that you don't utter things, unless you have legal representation there to guide you. so that you don't find yourself incriminating yourself.
But Edward, this is Kenya bana. Mse upigwa ambako nasikia, you've just said things that you're not supposed to say. So what if police were coerced to say something that I did not want to say?
And that is a very good thing. As much as the police will do that, judicial officers, they have the mandate of ensuring that the rule of law is observed in terms of even the kind of evidence that is brought before the court. There's a kind of evidence that if it's brought before the court that you are coerced to say something, or you yourself, you know, when you appear before a judicial officer, a magistrate or a judge, you're given the time to and the liberty to also air out your side of the story. So if it is known, if it comes to the attention of the JO that you gave that evidence was coerced, then it is not admissible in law.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So once I'm arrested, kuna hizo vitu unasikianga bond, cash bail. I'll really want to understand the term bond, cash bail, and how do they work?
Okay. So it's good to understand the difference also between bond and bail. And cash bail. Cash bail is basically that cash, that amount that you pay, that is stipulated by the judicial officer or the magistrate at the point where you've the case has started. Remember, it is just good to understand the criminal system, the trial process. It begins with an arrest, obviously an arrest, and then you are presented to court. At the point of arrest, you can be released on cash bail at the police station, depending on the nature of the offense. There are certain offenses where the police will tell you, a good example is a traffic offense. You can be told, yes, you didn't have what we call, what do we call it? A license, a driving license, sorry. You don't have a driving license. So the police can say that, I'll release you on cash bail, but you should avail yourself on court on this particular day. So that is an instance where you've been given a cash bail at the police, and it's normally guided by the police standing orders. And in most instances, it's normally for minor offenses. But there are certain grievous offenses, certain felonies that you have to be taken to court. And remember that for one, right to bail is something that everybody has, because it is more grounded on the principle of presumption of innocence, where we normally say that somebody is innocent until proven guilty. So we don't want a situation where you are detained, yet we've not yet come to the conclusion that you're guilty. That is the principle underlining the issuance of bail and bond. So we've said for bail, you pay, it's cash in terms of cash, but for bond, basically it's normally like a pledge to the court that you'll appear in court as long as this has been given to court. It's more like of a surety or something to say that this person will be coming to court, but you've deposited something that can guarantee that you'll attend court. A good example, you can give out maybe your logbook or something. You can issue out a title deed of a property, because you see there's that attachment that human beings have over property. Yes. So if you are to issue somebody with a title deed and they don't appear in court, si utamtafuta. Utamwambia wewe bana, shamba yangu itaenda.
So basically cash bail ni pesa.
Yes.
Is more property.
Yeah, more property, more like a pledge, yeah?
So what happens if I violate those terms? I don't show up to court after Nimepatiana and those things?
In most instances, you'll also have a surety. A surety is somebody who will give out their details. In most instances, you'll see that the court will prefer to have, let's say if you've committed an offense, they'll prefer to have somebody like your mother being a surety, because it's easier for your mom to trace you, yeah? Yes, so if you violate those terms, if you had paid, let's say, a cash bail of 100,000, that will be forfeited back to the state. It's taken back to the state, and now warrant of arrest are issued so that they can arrest you and take you back to custody as the case continues.
Let's develop that. There are some cases you realize that the accuser is like trying to help and homes and being a fool. So they don't show up to court. Like after I'm being presented, the accuser is not showing up to court. Magistrate anatupilia kesi nje ama what do we do?
You've been accused of an offense. the accused and because we have the accused and we have the complainant, yeah?
Yes.
So the complainant or the victim. So in a case where the complainant is not coming to court, yeah, a case where a complainant is not coming to court, then it means that, you see, it brings down the weight of the case. And you see, we have, the prosecution has the mandate of prosecuting the case to beyond reasonable doubt, or depending on the burden of proof that has been set. Maybe probably it's a balance of probability, but in criminal cases it's normally beyond reasonable doubt. So once the claimant is not, once the complainant is not coming, that it means that, do we really have a strong case?
Nice. Lastly, before you go to the next point, I want to understand, how does the court determine the amount of cash bail of the bond that I get? Like, kuna wengine unasikianga they've been given 30,000, wengine 100,000, kuna wengine 5 million.
5 million, yeah. So I think that's a very good question. First of all, we look at one thing we call the nature of the offense. How serious was the offense? Probably for serious offenses such as murder, robbery with violence, treason, they attract a high penalty, yeah, because of the nature of the offense. The other thing that we also normally look at is the flight risk of the individual. I can give you an example of the recent case we had of this guy who deals with Cairo. So at the point of arrest, this also brings out the point of your conduct, even at the time of arrest. You'll hear the prosecution saying that at the time of the arrest, the accused had flee away from the maybe crime scene or something. So it means that this is an individual who is at flight risk. Probably you are told that you are wanted for this, but you're already outside the jurisdiction maybe of the country. So those are some of the factors. And then we also need to look at, we also have to balance the rights and interests of the victim. We also look at you yourself as the accused. Probably you've committed a crime that has angered the community. If I was to even release you on cash bail, will you be alive even to stand trial? Probably the community will lynch you before even you stand trial. So at times we might find that you think that we've set it high, but it's also to protect you.
Yes. During this conversation, we see different things. We say criminal law, civil law. Can you just differentiate for us civil law and criminal law?
Okay. In a layman's perspective, criminal law is basically when you've committed, how do I put it in a simple layman? It's when it's you against the state. You've committed an offense against the state, and it's normally brought about by the state. The complainant is normally the state. But for civil, it's a wrong against a fellow civil. It can be a company, civil person. Yeah. So you'll realize that even the terms that we use, in criminal we'll say republic versus. Yes. But here in in civil we'll say plaintiff. And you see, for civil we have different nature of claims. We have torts. We have even I feel like I know traffic is under criminal in a way, but for civil basically it's even the terms of engagement. It's between two civil persons. Let's say Ragot versus Edward. You see, I'm the plaintiff. Maybe probably is the defendant. Yeah, that's like the basic difference between the two. And you see, the other one is initiated by the state. So that's where we have the ODPP. But you see, this one is just something that it can be between two companies. That's now civil. Yeah. Probably even between you and your employer. Matters to do with employment, those are civil. Matters to do with land, those are now civil matters.
During the Gen Z protest, there is something that the Constitution. I have my rights in the Constitution. So, according to legal terms, what does the term "having my own rights" mean, and what are some of the rights that are in the Constitution that even us we are not fully aware of?
Okay, I would first of all I would want to point out Chapter 1. Sovereignty belongs to the people. That is the number. That is normally
The people shall.
The people shall.
Yeah.
It's not the people may. Yeah?
Mandatory.
Mandatory. It means power belongs to the citizens of a particular country or the particular state. So what happens is that if you look at, there's a unit we do in law called jurisprudence, where we say that sovereignty belongs to us, but we just decided to surrender it to maybe a certain section of the society to lead us. Now that's our leaders, class. The political class, okay. to take us through now, to lead us, to exercise that power. They are not exercising that power on their behalf, they are exercising that power on our behalf. So that is one of the key rights that we should always take into consideration. We have issues to do with good governance, which Gen Zs were really advocating for, issues to do with transparency, accountability, such the integrity. So the most important aspect of our constitution, though I won't say the other aspects are not important, but I will go to chapter 4 of our constitution on the Bill of Rights, and we also have chapter 6 on integrity, but chapter 4 of the Bill of Rights is what provides for our rights: freedom of expression, right to life, freedom from slavery, such things. So basically, if you understand the Bill of Rights, that you have those rights are inherent in you. You cannot do away with those rights. And if you go ahead and see some of the rights, there are certain rights that cannot be limited. But there are other freedoms that can be. A good example, freedom of expression can be limited if now if we normally say that, yes, you have a right, but your right stops where you start violating another person's right.
I'll give a good example. Recently, there was this online thing with the president. Does that mean to make our freedom of expression as Gen Zs to vuka mpaka?
Yes, in a way, yes, because you see, the presidency is also an institution, and we are not looking into the individual, but we are looking at the presidency. It's an institution created by the Constitution. So if we don't respect the presidency, then it means that in a way we are also not airing out our grievances in the right way. But the Constitution still provides for avenues in which you can air out your grievances whenever you feel like the government is not working. That is why you see we have the right to freedom of picketing, demonstrations, and everything, and protesting. So in a way, you can do it, but you do it within the parameters of the law, so as to avoid a situation where, because you see now for the president, if he brings maybe a civil suit against you, saying that probably you are defaming his name or something, as an individual, not as a capacity of the president, but as an individual now. But I feel like we can be creative, yes, in the ways in which we address some of these challenges and issues of governance, but we should still do it within the law. Yes.
Nice. I'd like us to talk about contracts and agreements. Before you say any
contracts, yeah.
You need a lawyer to have a look at it.
Yes.
It might be benefit for me, and also the person giving the contract. But I want to know, what are some of the misconceptions people have about that statement? Okay,
there's one. They say that contracts are static. When you say contracts are static, it means that they feel like once you sign that contract, that's it. But that's a myth. Okay. Yeah, because you see, contracts, they normally progress as in accordance with how the society also evolves. Probably you're given a contract 2 years ago. It cannot be the same contract, okay? And before even I delve into the myths, it's good to really understand a content of a contract before you sign it. But it doesn't mean that if I force you to sign a contract, or if I add clauses that you do not agree to, it doesn't mean that that's the end of it. You see, at times people feel like once you've signed a contract, that's it.
So we were talking about contracts. What are some of the myths and misconceptions people have about contracts?
Okay, so I said, I said they're not static. It means that they evolve as also things evolve, as technology evolves, even as law evolves. Probably when you signed a contract, probably you had an employment contract before, prior, maybe the 2010 Constitution. We cannot have the same contract because even the Constitution has changed. Probably also the laws of employment in the country has changed. So it means that things normally change as time goes by. There's also the myth that contracts are just for lawyers. No. Contracts are for everyone, depending on the expertise. There are certain contracts that I as a lawyer cannot draft. Probably I need to indulge with an IT expert. I need to indulge maybe with an actor to understand how they work and what they would require. Yes.
Nice. So I want to know, as you wind up, what are some of the steps I should take as a person if I believe my rights have been violated?
Okay, if you believe your rights have been violated, we have remedies that are provided in law. The arm of the government that also assists in that is the judiciary. So if, for example, you feel like your right has been infringed, you can always bring, it depends. If you identify probably your freedom of expression has been infringed, you can institute a claim. You can institute what we call a constitutional petition, saying that I believe that these rights are being infringed. That's what, in most instances, you see Okiya Omtata doing, is instituting different petitions saying that the government has violated these rights, the government has done this. So you are at liberty of always instituting. You can always bring it through a non-governmental organization. You can bring it through the Law Society of Kenya. You can always reach out. You do an email saying that you feel like this aspect of the law is being violated. You can always reach out through legal representatives such as us as now advocates of the High Court.
Nataka sasa nijue, why do you always insist? Niambie tu kweli, tell me what really happened before I start representing you.
Yeah, it's good to disclose facts to the advocate that is representing you. We don't want a situation where I'm ambushed in court with facts that you are quite aware of. I'm told, but when they're doing cross-examination, then they say, but you are aware of this.
You know why I've asked that is because most of the time, usually that if you really knew as a lawyer that I killed someone, but don't you defend too, what happens after that?
Remember that everybody has the right for legal representation. So there's that mind that even that person who was killed does not deserve legal representation. But remember that everybody is entitled to legal representation, and everybody is innocent until proven guilty. And also, us as advocates, we also have a duty to represent clients whenever they come to us. But it doesn't mean that we are not at liberty to say no to a particular case. Probably you might find that you have conflict of interest, so you decide to recuse yourself from certain cases.
There are cases that as a lawyer you cannot give. You just say, this one.
Yeah, you can recuse yourself from those cases if you feel like probably you don't want to handle them. You have other issues, but at the end of the day, even if you do that, remember that everybody has the right for legal representation, regardless of their nature of crime or what they've done or what they are being accused of.
There's always this term, people who may be were innocent and end up being jailed. Utasikia akisema, by then mimi, lawyer wangu ndo alinifunga. So, can your lawyer lead to you being sentenced even if you are innocent?
Technically, in a way, it depends with the quality of legal representation that the lawyer will give to the client. As an advocate, you owe a duty to your client to ensure that you expedite the matter with a lot of expertise, and ensure that you also, in as much as you do that, you also have to conform to the laws that are being set by the laws of the country, probably the constitution and other instruments. You also have a duty, in as much as you're representing your client, you also owe a duty to the court, not to mislead the court. You also have a duty. Allow me to divert, not to mislead the court.
The court, I killed someone, but insist my client did not do that.
No, in most instances, it's good to really understand. Probably you did it out of anger. So what I'm trying to do in court, I'm trying to mitigate. Probably I'm trying to tell the court that yes, my client did this, but in that defense, there is this that happened, there was provocation, probably was being attacked, it was out of self-defense. You see, that one you're not misleading the court. You are trying to just come up with facts that you're making a good case for your client. In making a good case for your client, you should not still mislead the court. You saw what happened to my senior, Mr. Omari. Yeah, the court will chase you out. And now it will be quite unfortunate. It will be prejudice to your client. There will be a lot of prejudice to your client.
Maybe if you have no, before you do a parting shot, I want to know what's the funniest case that you have had. Ukasema, hey, this was funny.
I would say in terms of cases, we have, I think criminal cases are normally the funniest cases. The kind of things that people say in court. You find there's this one person, I remember he was accused of, I think it was theft and robbery, but he said that it was not him. So when he was being asked by the magistrate, he told the magistrate in Kiswahili, unaona venye accident inafanyikanga, hivyo ndio tu ilifanyika na nikajipata nimeletwa kotini. So at times if you get time, probably visit some of our criminal courts. That's Kibra, Makadara in Nairobi here. You'll find very funny cases, but also some of the funny experiences that we normally have also among advocates and judges. You find that an advocate has not been coming to court, and then when he's asked, he says he was taking painkillers. There was such an altercation before between some two senior advocates. I wouldn't want to mention names. I don't want to be served tomorrow for defamation. But all in all, I feel like it's good to always believe in the law. And one thing I would say that over the years, there's this case that I normally like reading. It's called the Mitubel case, where the Mitubel case. It was between Wilson Airport and the people of Mitubel. I don't know if you remember that piece of land next to Wilson Airport. So there's a time these people were being the Wilson Airport had said that these people had encroached their land. So they gave a 1 week notice. They evicted those people without even, and those people had stayed there for many years. They had children, they had schooled their children there. And the court was of the view that, yes, you might say that this is public land, but you allowed these people to stay here and get a right. You know, right for housing is a right also enshrined in the Constitution. So they said, yes, in as much as you're saying that this is your public land, and with even the new 2010 Constitution, it says that all land belongs to the people of Kenya. Although it is public land, yes, but the fact that you allowed these people to get housing there, to stay there for quite some time, you shouldn't evict them in that manner. And these people were paid. They tried, because even they got conservatory orders, but still, these people were still, Wilson Airport still went ahead and the aviation, I think it's the aviation or something, they went ahead and evicted these people out of that land. So that shows you that in as much as at times you feel that your rights are being violated, you have, you can still air out those grievances to the court, and the courts have a duty to hear you out and to observe the rules of justice. So whenever you go there with your issues, have some faith that you might find you might get a good ruling or a good judgment that will ensure that there's justice for everyone.
One thing you mentioned, commonly, you have been served. What does that mean?
You have been served. So basically, once somebody has instituted a suit, they have to serve you. They have to give you those documents so that you're able to understand, so that you're not caught by surprise. We say we don't want you to be ambushed, because it's not fair enough. You come to court, you're told you do this, but you're like, hey, Your Honor, I've not been able to go through.
Serving is between lawyers or lawyer and client?
Yeah, basically lawyer and client. It happens in different manners. You can once you institute a suit in court, you serve the other party. You can serve them physically. You can serve. Nowadays, technology has enabled us. You can also serve via WhatsApp. You can send a text message that I've instituted this. Maybe so you even attach those documents.
If I kill someone today, before the police arrest me, I can be served.
No, but you know that is not for service. Is basically for civil matters.
Okay.
Yeah, but for criminal, before even you know of it, you are in custody. If you've committed a cognizable offense, before you know it, you're already in custody.
Okay.
Yes, that's where, and then you already see by the fact you'll be served by the cash bail. When you're paying that cash bail, you already know that there's a problem. There's something wrong. Yes.
So I want you to give a parting shot about law. Talk to someone who is watching you. Tell them something.
Okay. For me, I'd say that law is a very good career, and apart from just being a good career, remember that law is here to bring order. And law is what guides us. Law is what creates peace and harmony. And without law, I don't think we can have a country. So it is upon us and even the different entities of the government to ensure that they observe the rule of law. And that's why we have the doctrine of separation of power, where there's check and balances to ensure that no arm of the government acts ultra vires. Ultra vires is when you act above what is required of you by the law, above the scope of maybe the legal power that has been granted to a specific institution, for example, the government. So that's why you'll find that even when you come up with laws at times, if there's no public participation, then the court will say that that law cannot be allowed to stand unless there's public participation. So all in all is that law is here not to limit us, but to enable us to have a conducive environment that will enable growth, stability, and success for this country. So all in all, usichukue sheria mkononi. Whenever you have any grievances, always consult, always reach out. The law is here to remedy you, to assist you.
Okay. Lastly, Amusha, I know you're a staunch Christian. Tell us your favorite Bible verse.
Jesus wept. Jesus wept. Very short and precise.